for?
If you find it, you'll know.
How many sneaky details did you miss? Welcome to The Things Animated, your go-to channel for the best content from all of your favorite animated movies and shows, including hidden details from Disney's latest flicks, Turning Red and Encanto. How many of these references went over your head? Keep watching to find out, and why not subscribe while you're at it? Number 1. Turning Red was full of 90s references, but it was also jam-packed with hidden details that were easy to miss. Domichi's bow got a special nod. The title appears on a sign in the exact same style as what we see on the short's poster. We had a Four-Town reference in Luca about turning red, and in Turning Red, the hidden Lightyear detail came in the form of a sticker. It looks pretty rad on the bottom of that skateboard. We only get a small glimpse of it, but Pixar wasn't gonna miss the chance to drop the beloved pizza truck somewhere in their latest flick. Luxo Ball, where are you? Taking it easy in the pool. And sorry, what chopper model is that? None other than A113. Number 2. Encanto, a movie full of color, music, and sneaky details. Or in some cases, not so sneaky, like when Bruno took a second to rock the Let It Go belt. And who doesn't love getting to know a movie's setting through an intro song and dance through town? It worked in Beauty and the Beast all those years ago, and it works now. Ooh, and we've seen this creature before. This three-headed pup is just as freaky in both Encanto and the 90s era Hercules. By the way, every one of the madrigals have subtle nods to their power featured somewhere. For Luisa, it was weights along the bottom of her skirt. Bruno's clothing was decorated with hourglasses, while Dolores' clothing had sound waves, Peppa sports sun earrings, and Isabela is not so subtly covered in flowers. Oh, and we can't forget the Mickey Mouse appearance.
But will they come looking for you over there?
How many hidden references did you catch in Disney's flick Luca? Disney notoriously includes smart and sneaky references throughout their films. How does Luca connect to a future Disney film? Which memorable bird appears in Raya and the Last Dragon?
Really?
As we venture with Joe Gardner and 22 through the streets of New York and Seoul, a travel agency is seen with a poster advertising flights to Porto Rosso. This was a clever nod to the film Luca, which was one of the next Disney films to come out at the time. There's even more to the name Porto Rosso though. It's actually a sneaky reference to the old movie called Porco Rosso.
The Porto Rosso Cup is about to begin!
This cool scooter in Luca is way cooler when we take a look at the license plate. It may seem like some random numbers, but if we reverse them, we get 0225. What's so special about these numbers? Well, they make up the date of the day that the very first teaser trailer for Luca was released online, February 25th.
Ah, yes!
In the middle of the town, we see a newspaper stand, and if we look closely, we see the names of the newspapers, one of which is La Gazzetta. If you ever wanted to get your hands on a real copy, you're actually in luck. La Gazzetta is a real Italian sports newspaper.
Bravo, we did it!
Luca had quite a few references and one very special connection to Disney's The Little Mermaid. In this scene, Luca's mother warns him not to get too close to the surface of the water because he could be harmed by the humans. Sound like a familiar warning? It's extremely similar to the one that King Triton gives Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Alberto's collection of objects from the surface is very much like the Disney Mermaid as well. Our favorite connection between the two movies, though, is that Jacob Tremblay, the voice of Luca, will actually be playing Flounder in The Little Mermaid remake.
Wait, it feels like it's still there.
Yeah, that's called Phantom Tail. You'll get used to it.
In the town of Porto Rosso, there are colorful walls everywhere, and one very special hidden detail referencing another Disney Pixar underwater character. In this scene, we can see that the etching in the concrete is none other than Hank the Octopus from Finding Dory.
You don't remember what we were talking about?
Julia's fisherman father has a striking look, and it's a bit of a different style to the rest of the character designs we see throughout the film. If he looks familiar to Disney fans, it's because he looks almost identical to the father in the Disney short La Luna. This is definitely no coincidence, since Luca's director, Enrico Casarosa, also happens to be the writer and director of La Luna.
This is how I came into the world.
Honestly, we were a bit startled seeing this chicken with a coconut shell on its head being sold by a food vendor in a market in Raya and the Last Dragon. That bird is unmistakable. There's no doubt it's Hey Hey, Moana's chicken sidekick.
Hey, hey!
It wouldn't be a Disney movie without a hidden reference to one of the many items that frequently reappears throughout Disney Pixar movies. In the Hall of Everything in Seoul, we're treated to loads of hidden details, including the classic Pizza Planet truck. Its first appearance actually goes all the way back to Toy Story.
Welcome to Pizza Planet.
In Raya and the Last Dragon, we know that Tong had a child who turned to stone, but fortunately, we see Tong reunited with the child at the end. The little one is never actually given a name, but reportedly, Tongler was what the child was referred to as by the animators. What's extra special about this name is that at the very end of the movie credits in the production baby section, we see the name Tongler listed among them.
It's a name.
Cruising through the New York subway system in Seoul, we see an advert for a company called Brang that appears. Any guesses where this company has been seen before? Taking a look back to the movie Inside Out, it's the same name of the company that Riley's dad works for. He's even wearing their shirt here.
We get it.
You're the best. Thanks, hon.
We're used to seeing the Luxo ball appearing, bright as can be, in the background of some of our favorite Disney Pixar movies, which is why we had a harder time spotting it in Seoul. However, if we look closely, tucked under a table in 22's room, we can see the familiar ball, looking far more faded and shadowy than we've ever seen it. Not to mention Luxo Jr.'s quick cameo shining down on a soul.
Wait, are you actually helping me?
In the movie Onward, we see a collection of records, including one prominently featuring an artist named Dorothea Williams. This was an early hidden detail hinting at the movie Soul, in which, of course, Dorothea is the famous jazz musician Joe is so thrilled to play with.
Call me Joe, Dorothea. Miss Williams. It's a pleasure.
Back in the Seoul subway, Joe and 22 end up hopping on train number 2319. This specific number has in fact appeared in a Disney Pixar movie before. Many, many years ago when Monsters, Inc. came out, this same number was actually used as the code at the Child Detective Agency to alert when a human ended up in their monster world.
George and I are like brothers. 2319!
This number being included is extra special because Monsters, Inc. was actually the very first film that Soul director Pete Docter had directed for Disney Pixar.
Catch!
During the song Shiny, Maui ends up dancing on a pile of beautiful gold that is very, very shiny. One item in particular stands out though, a very familiar magical lamp. If we look closely, we can see that it's definitely the genie's lamp from Aladdin. We've all been hearing Joe Ratzenberger's voice for years, even if we didn't actually know it. He's voiced a character in every single Disney Pixar movie since Toy Story. Soul was the first exception, but his streak managed to be kept intact. In the subway when Joe and 22 are running through, we pass a man who is a bit of a younger Ratzenberg's likeness, keeping his epic legacy and streak alive.
Very good, Woody. That's using the old noodle.
It's a small and often missed detail, but these Chinese food boxes have appeared throughout some of our favorite Disney movies. Originally featured in A Bug's Life, we've also seen it in The Incredibles 2, where they were sitting eating away. They weren't the only family to enjoy it though. Riley's family had the same boxes in Inside Out. We catch a glimpse of the classic box in Margaret's fridge in Toy Story 4, and then again in Seoul on an office worker's desk.
I'm alive!
The Toy Story 4 carnival is full of color and exciting prizes. But the one that really caught our eye was this beautifully designed guitar. The special instrument is unquestionably the same one played in the film Coco.
Get him. Ho, get him.
Bunny, what are you doing?
The antique shop in Toy Story 4 is filled with fun and random objects. Looking outside the shop, we can see a plate hanging in the window with an intricate emblem on it. This special design just so happens to be Merida's family emblem from Brave. Once we actually get into the antique shop, we also sneak a peek at this collection of Wall-E souvenir cups.
You can't be serious.
Anyone remember this tune? We can definitely understand why the jingle for Triple Dent Gum starts to drive Riley crazy in Inside Out. The gum makes a few other appearances though. A pixie duster buys a pack of gum in Onward, and in Cars 3, Triple Dent happens to be a sponsor of one of the cars.
See?
As a little Riley bounces on the couch, our eyes are drawn to the magazine on the coffee table. Our guess is that it's a cooking or food magazine, since there's a familiar face on the cover. Looks like Colette Tattoo, the cook from Ratatouille, has been doing pretty well for herself.
I hate false modesty. It's just another way to lie.
Imagination Land has so many little gems, but we're taking a look at one of the board games with a little nod to an older Disney Pixar flick, Finding Nemo. This game, called Find Me, displays an image of none other than Nemo, the fish who wound up being found. During the songs of Moana, we get treated to such vibrant images and beautiful illustrations. During Maui's song You're Welcome, a small fish swims across the screen, and if we take a good look, it's obvious that it's Flounder from The Little Mermaid.
Whoa! Ah, and then we were safe.
Disney has been known to include some darker and not necessarily for kids hidden details, and this reference is one of them. As Moana is packing her boat, a very familiar looking carrot and branch are packed away. These are two very key parts that make up Olaf, our favorite snowman. We can't imagine he'd do too well in that heat.
Best day of my life, and quite possibly the last.
The genie lamp wasn't the only Aladdin reference in Moana. Here, we see a carpet that's been well loved and definitely faded by the sun. This isn't just any carpet though. It's the flying carpet Aladdin and Jasmine ride through the air on. When Judy Hopps' adventures in Zootopia bring us through Tundra Town, a tiny pair of elephants makes us do a double take. Taking a closer look, we can see that these two little elephants are actually dressed up to look just like Anna and Elsa.
I'm going to see my sister.
First time?
Of course it is! I'm a good kid.
Pixar has another hit on their hands with Luca. And just like every other Pixar film, it's chocked full of hidden details. Whether it be keeping their traditions of the Pizza Planet truck alive, calling back previous Disney classics, or even hinting at what's to come from the studio, Pixar never fails to keep audiences on the hunt for references. Their Italian sea monster tale Luca has plenty of hidden references. So hop on your Vespa and let's start searching.
There it is. That's how we're gonna see the world.
One of Pixar's biggest trademarks of their films stems from an inside joke between the animation studio's staff, the number A113. This number has appeared as a license plate, graffiti, and has even made itself part of the plot in various Pixar films.
Room A113.
This is actually a callback to a classroom at CalArts where many of Pixar's top animators got their start. The number can be seen in the final scene of the film where Alberto hands Luca a train ticket so he can travel off to the city to go to school with Julia. If your eyes were getting a bit misty during this scene, you likely missed that Luca's ticket number is A113.
You can go to school.
I can?
If the diver's suit that both Luca and Alberto wore during several scenes of the movie looked more familiar to you, that's because you've likely seen it before in another aquatic-themed Pixar movie, Finding Nemo. The diver's helmet has the exact same design as the one where Jacques the shrimp resides in Dr. Sherman's fish tank.
It's fine, I'm not human.
Oh, thank goodness.
Another Pixar staple is the Luxo ball. The signature ball doesn't always appear in its original form, as it has shown up in the form of a shield, a merit badge, and a steering wheel. During the film's climactic race scene, there's a blink and you'll miss it shot of the yellow and blue striped ball in its original form lying on the rooftops of Porto Rosso.
Wow, he's fast.
Alberto's lighthouse bedroom has plenty of hidden goodies for fans to look for, with one of them being a callback to Pixar's beloved 2008 sci-fi film WALL-E. The boot, which WALL-E used to carry the plant over the course of the film, can be seen lying underneath Alberto's hammock.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Luca also drops some secret details to some more recent Pixar films, which we see in the scene where Luca and Alberto are swimming to the shore of Porto Rosso. One of the boats they swim past has the name Elena printed on it. This small detail is a reference to Abuelita Elena.
What did he say to you?
He was just showing me his guitar.
Shame on you!
The Pizza Planet truck has appeared in all but one of Pixar's films and is a callback to their seminal movie Toy Story. The crew had to get creative with making the vehicle fit in with the film's setting of 1950s Italy.
Classic human town. Pretty cool, right?
The animation team decided to remodel the truck into a Piaggio ape, which makes its appearance during the Porto Rosso Cup sequence.
Isn't it great?
Wall-E's boot wasn't the only Pixar throwback hidden in Alberto's room. If you look closely, you'll notice a hat residing near Alberto's hammock, which looks quite similar to the hat that Carl Fredricksen wore during several scenes in the Pixar classic, Up.
Hi, Mr. Fredricksen.
The hat wasn't the only detail that harkens back to Up. If you look closely, during the scenes taking place outside of the town restaurant, you'll find a poster advertising a soda drink. And if you examine it even further, you'll notice that one of the bottle caps on the poster shares a striking resemblance to the grape soda bottle cap that Ellie gave Carl in the beginning of Up.
We're in a club now.
Donald Duck is one of the Mouse House's most famous and treasured characters. In this scene taking place in Julia's bedroom, a plush toy resembling the classic Donald Duck design sits by the foot of the bed in one of the film's easier-to-catch references. One of the two other secret details hidden in Julia's bedroom is a copy of the original Pinocchio book titled L'Avventure di Pinocchio. This isn't just a reference to the Disney animated classic, it's also a direct allusion to the book's Italian author Carlo Collodi, which ties directly into the film's Italian Riviera theme.
Benvenuti a Porto Rosso!
The second of two Pinocchio cameos takes place during a dream sequence, where Luca envisions him and Julia flying over Porto Rosso, before the camera pans down to reveal Pinocchio waltzing through the Italian streets, alongside the lame fox and the blind cat. This also could be tied to the fact that, in their respective films, both Luca and Pinocchio dream of being a real boy.
I'm a real boy!
The train sequence had several other secret features, including the number 04608 on the front of the train that Luca and Julia depart on. That number isn't just any old random number, it's actually the zip code of Pixar's animated studio.
Come on, Alberto. The train's gonna leave.
Pixar sure does love their numerical references, and they took advantage of the opportunities presented by the film's finale. In yet another fun detail, you can see the number 1200 PA by the train doors, which actually refers to the studio's street address, 1200 Park Avenue. In the streets of Porto Rosso, you'll also be able to find posters advertising many films stemming from classic Italian cinema. But one of the posters is a callback to one of Disney's most famous aquatic-themed movies, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which followed a team of deep-sea explorers on the search for, you guessed it, sea monsters. Watch out, Luca.
Everyone in Porto Rosso pretends to believe in sea monsters.
An album cover with the name Niccolo Pietra can be found in Julia's room. While casual audiences might not think twice about the name, hardcore Pixar fans might catch that this is a reference to Pixar animator and voiceover artist Nick Pietra, who initially got his start making Pixar-themed music videos on YouTube and eventually went on to work for the studio.
Pretty awesome. Pretty cool.
He even provided his voice for the Triple Dent Gum jingle from Inside Out.
Triple Dent Gum. No!
One of Pixar's traditions is to have the directors of their films voice a character in their own film. Brad Bird voiced Edna Mode in The Incredibles, while Pete Docter supplied his vocals to Kevin in Up. Just to name a few, Luca's director Enrico Casarosa provided his voice to the unnamed mustache man wearing a cap, who can be found sitting at a table in some of the film's town square sequences.
Alberto!
I'm coming for you!
Another allusion to a Pixar short film appears in a climactic moment in the race sequence where Alberto rushes to Luca holding a blue umbrella to protect his true identity. The pairing of Alberto's sole blue umbrella amongst an ocean of less colorful umbrellas appears to be a visual nod to the 2013 short film The Blue Umbrella, which features the eponymous item amongst a swarm of gray umbrellas.
What's that?
It's just the greatest thing that humans ever made.
The Vespa.
Hidden Mickeys have become a trademark of Disney's. Luca has one of its own, albeit its origins are a bit different. When animating the dream sequence following Luca and Alberto riding a Vespa, Casarosa and his crew noticed that one of the cloud formations resembled a hidden Mickey. Thus, they decided to keep the hidden Mickey clouds in the film.
I am Ercole Visconti, 5-time winner of the Porto Rosso Cup.
A potential Ratatouille reference can be seen during Ercole Visconti's entrance. As Ercole and his lackeys sit outside of a restaurant, you might catch the restaurant's name, Gustosa. This is most likely a reference to the famous chef Gusteau from Ratatouille, who owned the restaurant at the heart of the story in Ratatouille.
I also really like this kind of hero piece that you're accentuating.
The folks at Disney never fail to surprise us, even after watching the movie. There's a lot of work that goes into making a Disney movie. Even a single frame of animation can take days of hard work. The animators at Disney definitely like to make things as detailed as possible. There's plenty of things you may not have noticed from movies you may have watched dozens of times. Here are just some of those hidden small details.
Did you see that?
In this scene from Tangled where Rapunzel has Flynn tied up to a chair with her hair, there's a close-up shot of Flynn's eyes that reveals just how committed to detail Disney tends to be. In a blink and you'll miss it moment, you'll be able to catch Rapunzel's reflection in the whites of Flynn's eyes, just as they dart to the right.
Would you stop that?
After escaping from the giant, sassy crab known as Tamatoa, Maui's magical hook suffers from a malfunction, causing him to transform into a half-human and half-shark hybrid. If you look closely, you'll notice that Maui's trademark tattoo of himself has also been transformed into a shark.
Shark head.
As we all probably know by now, Aladdin is based off a collection of folktales popular in the Middle East, titled 1001 Nights. An interesting small tidbit pays homage to the origins of the source material. Whenever Robin Williams' genie is shown writing, he is writing from the right to the left. This pays homage to the fact that Arabic is traditionally written from the right to the left. If you've ever been to an arcade, you'll probably notice that almost all the games have a high score. The Fix-It Felix Jr. cabinet in Wreck-It Ralph is no different. The high score of the game read 120501, which, if you are a hardcore Disney fanatic, you might recognize this as the birth date of Walt Disney himself. December 5th, 1901. Think you can top that high score?
I'm gonna wreck it!
In Zootopia, Nick's employment application to become a police officer has a fun little gag. Under the question, "Have you ever been arrested?" you'll see that Nick initially checked off yes before scribbling it out and checking no. Seems a bit suspicious. Hopefully that didn't come up in his interview with Chief Bogo.
Not now!
Beauty and the Beast's large cast of living castle objects all have some pretty pun-worthy names. While there's the obvious ones like Mrs. Potts, Lumiere, and Cogsworth, there's also some that only true experts will catch. Sultan, the Beast's transformed pooch, is an Ottoman. This is actually a historical reference regarding the fact that sultans were the rulers in the Ottoman Empire. While casting her spell to transform herself into her human alter ego Vanessa, you may have noticed that Ursula grabs a butterfly. What you may not have noticed is that Vanessa just so happens to be the name of a genus of butterfly. Well played, Disney, well played.
The Sea Witch.
The mobile hanging above baby Rapunzel's crib has items that correspond to the film's plot. There's a horse representing Flynn's trusty steed Maximus, a chameleon for Rapunzel's chameleon pal Pascal, a duck for the Snuggly Duckling Tavern because who doesn't love ducklings, an angel for the man dressed as Cupid at said tavern, and a blue bird for the birds that fly around Rapunzel when she leaves the tower for the first time. Spoiler alert!
I can't believe I did this!
As Belle's father Maurice finds himself lost in the woods, he comes across a faded wood sign pointing in various directions. The faded names on the signs are names of cities in California. One of the names on the signs reads Valencia, which just so happens to be the location of Cal Arts, a school where many of Disney's top animators got their start. The other sign reads Anaheim, which is the location of the Disneyland Resort. That's a long way away from Beast's castle.
Let's go this way.
Riley certainly has a lot of memories in Inside Out, but some of them are actually from other Pixar movies. In one scene, you can see two memories next to each other that represent the wedding scene from Up, as well as Carl and Ellie's house.
These are Riley's memories, and they're mostly happy, you'll notice, not to brag.
While on their way to eBay, Ralph and Vanellope encounter several spam-filled pop-up ads, with one of them promoting sassy housewives that want to meet Ralph. If you look closely at the ad, you'll recognize a familiar face. Aunt Cass from Big Hero 6. It'd probably be wise of Ralph not to click on that ad.
Sassy housewives want to meet you!
In the opening musical number of The Princess and the Frog down in New Orleans, there's a little hidden detail within this overview shot of the city. If you look over to the right, you'll see a woman airing out a carpet that looks very similar to Aladdin's magic carpet. That begs the question, how did it manage to get all the way to New Orleans?
Come on out. We're not gonna hurt you.
During the very memorable scene which finds Vanellope meeting all the Disney princesses while visiting Oh My Disney, there's plenty of little hidden details. One of those is located on the vanity table behind Aurora, where you'll notice Ariel's candlestick and a box of thingamabobs. She's got 20 of those, you know.
I don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things.
On the streets of Lilo and Nani's Hawaiian home of Kauai, a Chinese restaurant can be seen between the farmer's market and television store. The restaurant's name in question, Mulan Wok. If that wasn't enough Mulan goodness, there's also a poster for Mulan hung up on Nani's bedroom wall. Nani must be a big fan.
Love.
Judy Hopps' music player has plenty of pun-worthy names resembling some very popular musicians. Some of these names include Fleetwood Yak, Fur Fighters, Canine West, and The Beagles. To top that off, Gazelle's album features songs with titles that sound very similar to some classic Disney tunes from Let It Goat to Part of Your Wool.
I'm Gazelle. Welcome to Zootopia.
As Tarzan's jungle friends play with the humans' belongings, Turk can be seen playing with a tea set as if it were an instrument. The teapot actually resembles Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. How she wound up in the jungle, however, still remains to be seen.
See, I told ya.
Science geeks are sure to catch this hidden detail in Big Hero 6. Honey Lemon's tech-based supersuit features a purse that, if you look closely, has the periodic table of elements on it. How fashionable.
I love it!
As the muses sing about the planets aligning in Hercules, only 6 planets are shown instead of 8. This is actually because the ancient Greeks only knew of 5 other planets outside of Earth that could be seen by the human eye. Now that's commitment.
The planets will align.
Hidden Mickeys are scattered across many of Disney's movies, TV shows, and even their theme parks. In this shot in the opening of The Emperor's New Groove, an overhead shot shows that the plates being used by Kuzco's servants have food on them shaped like green hidden Mickeys.
No! You threw off my groove!
In the opening, When You Wish Upon a Star scene in this Disney classic, the bookshelves that Jiminy Cricket reads the story of Pinocchio from has 2 familiar books. Those books are for Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan. Both of those Disney later turned into movies over 10 years later.
What a builder!
As Anna greets visitors outside of the castle before Elsa's coronation, you'll catch that she walks by 2 very familiar-looking characters. In fact, these 2 characters are Rapunzel and Flynn, with the princess sporting her new short hairdo. Does this mean Anna and Elsa's parents showed up for Rapunzel and Flynn's wedding?
Did I ever tell you I've got a thing for brunettes?
After losing his dramatic battle with the Beast, Gaston begins to fall from the castle. In a blink and you'll miss it shot, you see that Gaston's eyes have skulls flashing, ultimately predicting his untimely fate.
Come on out and fight!
His Royal Highness King Triton!
During King Triton's introduction in The Little Mermaid, several of the background characters in the audience are some very notable Disney alumni. The beloved Muppet, Kermit the Frog, can be seen sitting in one corner, while Mickey, Donald, and Goofy can also be seen watching in the audience. Disney and the Muppets have to represent somehow.
Yes! Watch out, Ted, here I come!
As Nani prepares to sign Stitch's adoption papers, you'll notice that this is no ordinary document. In fact, the adoption document is actually a thank you note to the production and creative team behind the film. It makes you wonder how many of them paused the movie to read it.
I like him. Come here, boy.
After Pixar's Cars lost Best Animated Film at the Oscars to the Warner Brothers produced motion capture flick Happy Feet, Pixar included a small jab at the end of their subsequent film, Ratatouille. The label reads that the film is 100% genuine animation, with no motion capture used, and reminds everybody that the studio's films are all animated by hand, instead of just using motion capture. Tough, but fair.
In the end credits of Lilo and Stitch, we see a montage of photos that depict Stitch with his new family. In one picture, we see Stitch helping a baby sea turtle out to sea by holding a leaf over it. Adorable. Now let's look at Moana at the beginning of her film. She assists a baby sea turtle in the same style, leaf protection and all.
Shoo!
We can't help but wonder why the creators decided to do this. Was it a coincidence or a clever, sneaky reference? Either way, both Stitch and Moana look cute saving the baby sea turtle. In Frozen, we're heartbroken when Anna transforms into an ice statue as she sacrifices herself to save her sister. We see it happen again in the movie's sequel, Frozen 2, but this time with Elsa. When she freezes, it's because she ventured too deeply into Adahallen to find out the secrets of the past, whereas Anna froze because she had to stop Hans from hurting her sister. She too is making a sacrifice when she turns to ice, but this time it's for the fate of magic in their world. Not only are their sacrifices similar, but Disney utilizes a lot of the same imagery and shot composition. Look closely for this next one. In Big Hero 6, there's a picture of Aunt Cass's cat, Mochi, dressed up as Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. If you look even closer, you'll notice that Mochi is dressed up as Stitch when Stitch is in his alien uniform, the one he's in at the beginning of the movie.
He is bulletproof, fireproof, and can think faster than supercomputer.
It's an adorable in-movie cosplay, and it's perfect that Mochi is in costume rather than Hiro or Tadashi. Stitch is Lilo's pet, and Mochi is Hiro's pet. It's perfect.
Ooh, that darn cat!
We know Aunt Cass from Big Hero 6, but it looks like she's also on the cover of an ad in Wreck-It Ralph, too. She's posed exactly the same as she is in this scene, where she's talking to Hiro. It's almost like they took a screenshot from Big Hero 6 and inserted it into Wreck-It Ralph, too. We can't help but wonder why they chose Aunt Cass to be the cover of the ad, but it does make for a great cameo. She's definitely rocking it. Only eagle-eyed fans will have spotted this next one. Check out the corkboard in this scene of Big Hero 6. See a familiar face? That's right, it's Hans from Frozen. He's a wanted man in this universe. It looks like he's a bad guy in Frozen and in Big Hero 6. Word must have spread from Arendelle to San Francisco about his terrible misdeeds and what he did to Anna and Elsa. Hans isn't just a wanted man in Big Hero 6. He's also a fancy statue at Fred's mansion. It's so satisfying to watch Baymax blow up the Frozen villain's likeness. After all, he is one of the worst Disney antagonists out there. Who wouldn't want to see his statue blown up? In Frozen, Anna stuffs her face with chocolate during the first time in forever sequence. It's a relatable moment, but look closer at that pile of chocolate. We've seen it before in Wreck-It Ralph. It makes sense that Anna's eating Sugar Rush chocolate. After all, Wreck-It Ralph came out the year before Frozen, so it makes sense for the movie to have a cameo. These Easter eggs are hard to spot, so keep your eyes out. Multiple Disney princess symbols can be seen in Rapunzel's tower in Tangled. We've got Snow White's apple, Cinderella's slipper, Aurora's spindle, Ariel's shell, and Belle's rose and dresser. The creators paid homage to almost all of Rapunzel's predecessors. Do these movies all take place in the same universe? Or do they just all have the same interior decorator? Or maybe it's a treat to avid Disney fans. You decide. The character Finnick makes for a cute elephant in Zootopia when he and Nick visit an elephant-ran ice cream shop. To pull off their con, Finnick needed to dress up in order to get sympathy from the elephants, making them bend their elephants-only policy. But he isn't just dressed as an adorable baby elephant. He's cosplaying Dumbo. Look at how big those ears are! The Kakamora are a fearsome antagonist in Moana, but there's one friendly face hiding in the crowd. Can you see it? It's Baymax from Big Hero 6. It doesn't look like he's here to be a healthcare provider, though.
Coconuts.
It's sweet to see Elsa and Anna as kids playing with snow toys before bed. But those aren't just regular toys. They're characters from past movies. We spotted Dumbo, Baymax, and Bolt. It's so cute that Elsa and Anna are playing with the snow toys that Elsa magicked up. But it's even cuter that the creators chose to feature past characters. The final battle between Claude Frollo and Quasimodo is intense for sure, but you might not have noticed a Disney favorite hiding in plain sight. Look at the gargoyle in this scene. It's Pumbaa from The Lion King. The Lion King predates the Hunchback of Notre Dame by 2 years, so it's fitting that the lovable warthog makes an appearance in the film. Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast has an iconic character design. Let's watch the Trash in the Camp sequence of Tarzan. Turk is playing a tea set that looks an awful lot like Mrs. Potts and her accompanying tea set. How did Jane Porter and her father come to acquire that tea set anyway? They must have bought it at the Disney store.
Oh, it was amazing.
An important object in Up is the grape soda pin Ellie first gives to Carl as a symbol of their friendship. It's later given to Russell as a Junior Wilderness Explorer badge, but it looks like it's been abandoned and lost, just like Woody in Toy Story 4. At the beginning of Tangled, we watch a beautiful magical flower blossom, but it won't be the last time we see it used in one of Disney's films. This flower plays an important role in Tangled, as it gives Rapunzel's hair its powers, and it plays a small role in Moana. When life returns to Motunui, one of the first flowers to bloom is the tangled flower. The flower ends Moana, whereas it begins Tangled. The magic carpet from Aladdin is famous for being able to travel around the world. It looks like it traveled to Motunui from Moana. Maybe Aladdin is hiding somewhere on the island with Jasmine. After all, there is that sequence in Aladdin where he, Jasmine, and the flying carpet visit every corner of the world. Who's to say they didn't stop at Motunui? The finger fun is a classic move. Hercules shoots one at Meg when he's about to save her from a fearsome monster.
Excuse me.
Similarly, Maui shoots one at Moana when he's introducing himself. Both of these characters have a lot in common. They're super strong, they're demigods, and they're heroes. We met them in Finding Nemo, but it looks like Moana met Crush and Squirt when she was a baby. Watch this scene when Moana looks at two sea turtles passing by. Those aren't just any turtles. They're Crush and Squirt from Finding Nemo. Maybe this is Crush and Squirt's origin story. Maybe they're actually from Motunui before traveling to Australia.
Sweet.
Totally.
Many fan theories that connect The Little Mermaid and Frozen, and the two are indeed related. Agnar reads a book by some Danish author in a memory in Frozen 2. That Danish author is Hans Christian Andersen. You'll recognize him as the author of the short story The Little Mermaid and The Snow Queen, stories that became Disney's The Little Mermaid and Frozen. In fact, you can see Ariel on the cover of the book Agnar is reading. The tapestry of Merida's family plays an important role in Brave, and it makes an appearance in Cars 2. It shows up in a pub during the London Grand Prix, and the setting for Brave is Scotland, part of the United Kingdom, so it makes sense that it would show up there. Both movies are also part of the Pixar family, so it makes even more sense that the creators would reference Brave in Cars 2.
Welcome to Monsters Incorporated.
They scare because they care. Pixar's Monsters, Inc. franchise is among one of their most celebrated ones. Like many of Pixar's other films, they have plenty of hidden Disney references for fans to look out for. Now that the franchise is continuing with Monsters at Work, let's take a look at some of the hidden Disney references in both Monsters, Inc. and Monsters University.
Hello? I know! Hey, wasn't I great?
If you look closely, you'll notice that many of Boo's toys seem to share a common theme with each other. Some of her toys serve as references to other Pixar films. In the scene towards the end, which has Boo handing her toys to Sully, you'll notice that Jessie, the lovable cowgirl introduced in Toy Story 2, is lying on Boo's tea table. Hopefully Al doesn't try to take her away.
It's me, it's Al! I got an emergency here!
Another iconic Pixar character who can be found in Boo's room had yet to make his Pixar debut at the time of the film's release. Nemo, just like Jessie, is portrayed as one of Boo's toys, as well as one that she tries to give Sully towards the film's conclusion. Though this wasn't the only Nemo reference, as a painting of a clownfish can be seen as part of a mural during the restaurant scene. Both of these references are part of a long-standing Pixar tradition where a reference to the next Pixar film is hidden within the film.
Well, that's very nice.
Pixar's iconic Luxo ball, which has appeared in almost every one of their films, has taken on countless different forms from carpets to shields, and even a hallucination. In Monsters, Inc., it can be found in its original form, lying on Boo's bedroom floor among all her other toys, including Nemo and Jessie. In Monsters University, the famous yellow and blue striped ball can be seen taking another form, as wall graffiti during the first challenge of the Scare Games. This red-starred ball sure knows its way around the world of Pixar. In the climax of Monsters, Inc., Mike and Sully throw Randall through a closet door that transports him to a trailer home, where he is greeted by its 2 inhabitants that mistake him for an alligator and beat him with a shovel. If that trailer home looked familiar to you, that's because if you are an avid Pixar fan, you will remember that it previously appeared in A Bug's Life, with a familiar vehicle parked right next to it. Flick and his friends better watch out for Randall.
Pretty crazy, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Parked right next to the trailer home is yet another Pixar hallmark. The Pizza Planet truck, which is a callback to the studio's beloved Toy Story franchise. This famous truck has appeared in all but one of Pixar's films, making Pizza Planet the go-to pizzeria in all of the Pixar universe. The truck is in the same exact spot it was in A Bug's Life, sitting right next to the trailer that Randall is thrown into at the end of the film. In Monsters University, the Pizza Planet truck can be found parked outside the Jocks fraternity house, which is certainly appropriate for the film's college setting.
Right here.
Another long-standing tradition at Pixar is the number A113, an inside joke at the studio over the name of a classroom at CalArt, where many of their top talent got their start. The number has appeared on cereal boxes, Roman numerals, and street signs over the course of its history in Pixar films. In Monsters, Inc., the number can be briefly seen in the door vault scene, printed on one of the pillars as A113. Meanwhile, in Monsters University, the number makes an appearance that traces back to its origins, serving as the room number for a classroom at the School of Scaring.
You know where the door is.
In the Scare Floor montage featured in Monsters, Inc., which features a monster running out of a teenage girl's bedroom, there's a blink and you'll miss it shot of a Paul Bunyan poster. This same poster can also be seen in the bedroom of the villainous Sid in the first Toy Story film. If that girl was anything like Sid, there's no wonder why that monster was so terrified.
Oh, kids these days.
Another Easter egg that can be found during the Scare Floor montage is the Scare Board, showing off all the monsters' scores with Sully and Randall featured at the top. What you may not have realized is that many of the other names depicted on the board are the names of Pixar employees. These names include Joe Ranft, Bud Lucky, Jonas Rivera, Bob Peterson, Bob Polly, and Daniel Gerson. Maybe working at Monsters, Inc. is their second job?
I can't believe it.
During a scene in the first act where Randall is showing off his camouflage abilities, one of the 2 backgrounds that appears is a brick wall, while the other background is a direct callback to another classic Pixar film. The familiar-looking cloud wallpaper is the exact same design as the one used in Andy's room in the Toy Story films. Does this mean Randall is Andy's monster?
Hey, look at that, it's Randall!
Another hidden reference in Monsters University can be found on Uzma Kappa president Don Carlton's business card that he proudly touts to Mike and Sully. If you look closely, you'll see that the address printed on the card is 1200 Dark Ave, which sounds almost identical to Pixar's real address, 1200 Park Ave. Maybe Don Carlton worked in sales at the monster version of Pixar before heading back to college at Monsters U.
But he's right.
Another numerical reference lies within the opening scare simulation scenes in Monsters, Inc. The number 510-752-3000 can be seen on the control panel that Miss Flint uses. This is not just any old number, it was actually the phone number for Pixar Animation Studios at the time of the film's release. That makes you wonder if they got a lot of phone calls.
Monsters, Inc., please hold. Monsters, Inc., I'll connect you.
In the penultimate scene of Monsters, Inc., which finds Mike performing a comedy routine in front of a young boy, avid Disney fans may recognize a familiar poster in the bedroom. If you look closely, you'll see a poster behind the boy for Tomorrowland, one of the most popular themed areas in all of Disney parks. The area even spawned its own movie directed by Pixar veteran Brad Bird.
Your room, where you from?
In the final scene of Monsters, Inc., taking place at the newly established laugh floor, one of the comedic props that can be seen lying around in the background is a red unicycle. This is actually a reference to Pixar's second CG short titled Red Dream, which follows a lonely red unicycle who dreams of finally being able to get his chance in the spotlight. Hopefully, Red's appearance on the laugh floor means his dream finally came true. One can hope.
I hope we get a copy of that tape.
One of Pixar's most notable traditions is having actor John Ratzenberger make an appearance in almost every single one of their films in roles of various sizes. Ratzenberger, unsurprisingly, makes an appearance in both Monsters, Inc. and Monsters University as the Yeti. He is even reprising the role in the series Monsters at Work, where he'll also be voicing the father of the main character, Tyler Tuskman. Who knows what other kinds of characters John Ratzenberger will voice in future Pixar projects?
All right, newbies, quit goofing around.
Monsters University continued Pixar's tradition of hinting at their next film with a quick reference to The Good Dinosaur, which at the time was set to be their next film, before its release date was eventually pushed back. During the final challenge of the Scare Games sequence, toy versions of several of the characters from the film can be seen on the floor of the bedroom simulation.
Thanks for taking it easy on Grandpa.
We love getting to find all these hidden references scattered throughout the movies. Treasure hunting to find every tiny detail makes us appreciate the work of these artists behind the film even more. Which references are your favorite to look for? Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, because we've got more stellar content coming to you soon from The Things Animated.